Thanks for joining us today, where we embark on a journey to transform your accountancy practice. We're going to unveil and introduce you to CCH iFirm, our new integrated cloud-based platform designed to empower your practice for success through streamlined processes, enhanced collaboration, and client-centric outcomes. And here are your hosts for today. I'm Natasha Chrisafi, Director of Product Management here at Wolters Kluwer, Tax and Accounting UK. I'm joined by Dan Faulkner, who is a Lead Product Manager, again for Tax and Accounting UK. I will delve into how this innovative solution will elevate your practice's potential, and then I'll hand over to Dan, who will share valuable insights into the crucial data migration strategies that you need to consider when transitioning your accountancy software to the cloud. So let's get started. I'm extremely excited to announce CCH iFirm. CCH iFirm is an integrated cloud-based platform that supports a tax and accounting firm's entire management, compliance and client relationships needs, boosting efficiency and productivity. Over the past 2 decades, the transformational impact of technology evolution has been huge, and cloud technologies have demonstrated a proven and exponential rate of improvement. The demand within practices to identify process improvements and drive operational quality with the cloud is becoming widely recognised, especially in an economic landscape where businesses must prioritise innovation and agility. CCH iFirm is transforming the way practices work, view, collaborate, and act on everyday workflows and compliance tasks, elevating the accounting experience for advisors and clients. CCH iFirm is a frictionless, scalable solution that adapts to the needs of accountancy firms. As client bases expand and services diversify, the cloud-based platform scales alongside growing businesses. The connectivity of CCH iFirm allows customers to implement the cloud platform into their existing workflows as our suite of applications syncs with popular accounting and productivity tools. This creates a unified ecosystem that boosts efficiency and productivity. The result is a customizable solution that evolves alongside your firm, ensuring you're always one step ahead. We call this your journey to cloud. No practice's journey is the same, and CCH iFirm supports every journey. As our new and existing customers move to CCH iFirm, we look forward to helping them prepare and capitalise on the new opportunities made possible by the cloud. CCH iFirm has been on the market for over a decade and is part of the CCH iFirm ecosystem of solutions available in our North American and APAC markets, and now also in the UK. By sharing solutions and knowledge across countries, we can bring our products to market quicker, knowing that they are products loved by customers worldwide. CCH iFirm has been tested extensively by a range of clients, both existing and new to Wolters Kluwer. Their feedback was very positive, and we are confident we continue to bring a world-class customer experience when using our solutions. Our digital transformation includes the back-end systems that you don't see, as well as our support channels and facilities that you engage with, which are all market leading. Automation and AI is set to change the way we do our jobs. CCH iFirm is the perfect infrastructure for those practices that may be looking to deploy the benefits of artificial intelligence in the future. With AI increasingly capable of tasks such as expense categorization, invoice processing, and financial reporting, it makes sense to host data in the cloud to make it available to automate repetitive tasks and streamline workflows. This includes harnessing the power of real-time data-driven insights in the cloud and leveraging new opportunity driven by data analysis, visualization, and reporting. Wolters Kluwer is known for its innovative products, and we're committed to continuous innovation with you, our customer, at the heart. So now on to the exciting stuff, our roadmap to cloud. What are we doing now? So as you're aware, we have launched our CCH iFirm brand. You will have seen lots of PR, hopefully over LinkedIn, and other series of our webinars introducing our brand and the concept. And excited to follow up all of those announcements with our first module in the CCH iFirm suite, which is CCH iFirm AML, and that's available for you to purchase now. Next, we'll be moving on to some further products in our CCH iFirm suite. Personal tax and accounts production. We are working on a cloud work paper solution, which will cover tax, accounts, and audit. And we also have a CCH iFirm Validate, which is a very exciting, innovative product powered by advanced technologies such as blockchain. And that's to aid with bank confirmations. Then into the future, we are looking forward to launching CCH iFirm Corporate Tax, CCH iFirm Time and Fees, launching our cloud audit solution, and our new product to market, CCH iFirm Client Onboarding, which will cover letters of engagement proposals and other parts of that work stream. So why CCH iFirm? So, I mean, starting the journey to cloud, it gives you excellent scope to also begin your journey to automation and AI for future efficiencies, alongside the opportunity to reduce paperwork and manual processes. The ability to run real-time data reports for easy and quick client reporting. CCH iFirm presents an opportunity to use data strategically. Its high security and reliability, robust security, including data encryption, regular backups, and authentication protocols, means that CCH iFirm in the cloud is every bit as secure as on-premise cloud accounting-based solutions. You can access CCH iFirm from any system, anywhere, at any time. Share and collaborate across the business with CCH iFirm with a single source of truth. Reduced IT costs. Who doesn't like reduced costs? There'll be more streamlined IT infrastructure and cost-effective cloud service subscriptions. CCH iFirm software updates are faster and simpler than ever before, applied easily through managed online updates. Reduced time for system upgrades and maintenance. CCH iFirm is automatically updated as new features become available. And it also features a wide partner ecosystem with more integration possibilities. I'm now going to pass over to Dan, who's going to talk a bit more about migration.
Welcome everybody. So hopefully everyone's now quite excited about CCH iFirm. But for our existing customers, there's always the question of, you use a system today, you're using CCH Central, you're using all the products therein. How are we going to move over from one system to another? And that's where migration comes in. Now, you may have seen me speak at our customer conference, or maybe at the previous webinars, where I outlined our overall strategy to our migration. So I talked about our phased approach or big bang, and giving you the choice of when you want to migrate. And that still stands. Absolutely, the migration to CCH iFirm for you is totally in your hands. It's your choice. But you'll have seen that we're progressing at some pace. There's a whole load of new products coming to market within the CCH iFirm platform, which you may be very excited about starting to adopt. And so it's important for us to emphasize what to actually get you ready so that when that product comes about, you're in a good place to start moving across. But before I get into what I want to do today is delve into some of the details of some of the steps. But before I do, I'd like to just remind you of the steps that I outlined in my previous sessions. So when it comes to preparing for your migration, we've created this 10-step process that you can start thinking about from today. So the first one is about assessing your current software setup, which is one of the 3 areas I want to delve into in a little bit more detail in this webinar. Secondly, looking at the roadmaps. How can you look at roadmaps to help you plan your migration? Third is about thinking about your data. What's your data like today? And what do you need to do to tidy it, readying yourselves for that migration? Those 3 steps I want to delve in a little more detail. But just beyond that, there's also the consideration for building your firm's cloud readiness. How ready are you and your colleagues to move to the cloud? Because it does involve a bit of a change in mindset to when you're working in a cloud product versus an on-premise. There's also the consideration you'll need to make around your security. What security implications are there to your firm? What governance steps do you need to have in place that we need to make sure we cover? So as Natasha mentioned, the new suite is absolutely as secure as it can be. We're meeting the highest levels of security, but perhaps you've got some additional considerations that you want within your firm. So think about those so that we can work with you to solve them. Thinking about business continuity, so when is going to be the right time for you to migrate, so it doesn't impact your business adversely. And then there's also the thinking about your staff, your users, making sure they've got the skills and the abilities to use this new software and to transition across before making sure it's all tested to your own requirements. And finally, how are you going to tell those within your firm and your clients about what the changes are and what this means to them? And that is when you can actually think about your actual migration. So as I say, for today, I want to just touch on the first three subjects. The first one is about assessing your current software setup. So at Wolters Kluwer, we have a range of different solutions. There's no one size fits all. Everyone has a different combination of products, services, and functions that they use. And for you to think about your migration, you need to know which of these elements you use. So do you use CCH Central and all the functions within? Do you use accounts production and audit and corporation tax? And what combinations of these elements do you use? And not only thinking about the software at that high level, where it's quite easy to list out all the elements that you've got. Within each part, what do you actually use? So for instance, within accounts production, there's a number of different master packs. Some of those that you might use, some of them you might not. Which ones do you use? Because again, that will help you to identify when CCH iFirm meets your needs so that you can start using that. And furthermore, when you're thinking about the software you use, not only do you want to think about that high level and the mid-level functions, but how often are you using each element and each part of the suite? Are you using it daily, weekly, monthly? Because again, this can impact how and when you want to move to CCH iFirm. So the suite will work very much in two different ways. So CCH iFirm will work alongside CCH Central if and when you're ready. So you can have all your data mastered in Central and move certain functions and products over to CCH iFirm as and when you're ready. And again, it comes to a question of, are you okay with jumping from one system to another? And that brings me on to my second point here. How do you work? Do you work on a task-by-task basis? Do you have a task list that you have to go through regardless of what client or what process or what function you need to work through? Or do you perhaps work on a client-by-client basis? You do all the jobs for one particular client before moving on to the next. Or do you work procedurally? So maybe you've got a team that works solely on tax or solely on accounts, so that one team just solely focus on that one particular area of the suite. Understanding how you work and how you use the software will again help understand what's going to be the best solution for you. Having a split system where you work sometimes in Central and sometimes in iFirm, or do you need to wait till all the functionality is in CCH iFirm to make that switch across? And as I touched on in the very first part of this section, what functions do you use? So we have the top level products and the certain packs that are there, but what else do you have within your firm that you rely on a daily basis? Do you have any external integrations that need to be there before you can move? Maybe you integrate to a third-party ERP or CRM system. Do you have workflow systems that need to be in place and touched on before you can move across? What reporting do you rely on a daily basis? Do you even use reporting at all from within CCH Suite, or do you have a third-party system there as well? And do you have collaboration tools that you use and rely on that need to be there in place before you can start using CCH iFirm? So again, all these considerations will help you to make that decision of when migration is ready for you. And so now I'd like to think about how you can take on board all that you've got with your existing software and start to plan for your migration itself. So this is about looking at the roadmap to identify when you wish to migrate. So we have different types of roadmaps. We have the roadmap that Natasha shared a little bit earlier, which is showing our now, next, future, indicating when we're starting to release our new products. Within each part, we also think about what elements of those products are being released when. And finally, I've got on the next slide a migration planner, which starts to give an illustration of when you can expect to have all of the functionality for you to use each of the different products within CCH iFirm. Now, before I move on to that slide, I'm going to make the assumption that looking at this, you've already made the assessment of what software you've got, what functionality you use, how often you use it, and how you can work within your firm, whether you can work in a single system or split system. So here I've got an illustration. This is just for guidance only. So this is not a product roadmap, but rather this is an illustration of when migrations might be suitable for you. So on this, the light green is where you have the option for phased migration. And by that, I mean that the functionality should be there in place for you to be able to work completely in iFirm on any one product. Before that, we will be releasing the products and incremental functionality. But on the green, when it reaches a stage of green, what that means is you've got all of the functionality to be able to do all of your work within CCH iFirm for that particular product. When it comes to option for full migration, what we mean there is that not only do you have all the functionality to work with that product on a daily basis to do all of the types of returns or sets of accounts or audits that you need, but we also will have enough historic information for you to completely switch off any external systems. You might choose to switch them off sooner, but this is just when we expect that you've got everything that's necessary for you to have that full migration over to the cloud. Now you'll see on the very top line, the one exception to full migration is Central. Because Central is so core to all of the different elements, your choice to migrate for CCH Central is completely in your hands. We will have functionality there in iFirm, but you might choose not to do a full migration until you've got everything there. So we can't explicitly say when full migration for Central will be ready for you. But rather for everything else, here is an example of how and when you might want to choose to migrate fully if you want to work completely within CCH iFirm. So finally, in preparation for your migration, what can you do today to make sure that you're as ready as can possibly be? So I'd like to think about your data. When it comes to migration, you're going to rely on data. You've got a wealth of different information within your CCH Central suite today, and it's likely you've been using that for a long period of time. So it's important to think about what information is there that you need and what isn't there. And actually having clean data within your database not only helps when it comes to migration, but it will also help the performance of your systems today. So these are three of the most common areas where we see within our teams where there's issues. So perhaps you've got duplicate contact records within CCH Central, two instances of the same contact that maybe have come through merging different systems at different points in time. Perhaps you've changed process to how you store those contact records. And maybe you've got two job logs sitting in your system, which actually could be rationalized to a single instance of job logs. So we have some tools and reports which we'll share after the webinar of how you can identify duplicate contact records. And identifying those and rationalizing those means that you're not moving or having as much data in the system when it comes to migration. The second point is historic client records. It's very easy to just keep data within CCH Central forever. But sometimes the more data you've got, the slower the system can become. And if you've got old client records or you've got old contact records that you're just storing in there because you haven't got around to removing them, they're both cluttering the system and also means that when it comes to migration, you'll be moving those across to CCH iFirm. So why not take the time now to tidy those up? Get rid of any contact and client records that you no longer need, that perhaps you've not provided services for several years. And finally, think about the documents and reports that you've taken over the period you've been supporting your clients. The likelihood is clients will have shared documents or you've produced reports about specific clients that you've just stored within CCH Central, within your document management system or somewhere else within the central suite. It's a good idea to go through and actually tidy those up. Get rid of anything that you don't need. Rid of files that are big, or get rid of any data that you just don't have any use for. But if you do have use for it and you don't need it in the immediate future, perhaps you can archive it to a much cheaper cloud storage or perhaps another server. So it's not taking your database space. And so thinking about your data is a really good idea. And we have some tools, as I say, that I'll share. But if you feel quite overwhelmed by the amount of data that you've got within your system, you don't feel like you can tackle this alone, our professional services team are really adept at this sort of work. And if you do want to get some help with this, I'd advise you speak to your account managers, because they can really put you in touch with the professional services who can help drive cleaning your data. And so for now, in terms of your migration preparation, that's where I wanted to stop, because these are the things that you can do today and you can start to think about, so that when the new iFirm products come about, you can start using them straight away, linked to from CCH Central. And with that, I'd like to hand back over to Natasha.
Thanks, Dan. I'm a bit of a rookie controlling these slides, sorry. Okay, so I've got a few questions in the chat, which I'll come on to in a minute, but I can address a couple on this slide. So how can you get involved with CCH iFirm? So CCH iFirm AML is live today. You can speak to your account manager, you can get a demo, you can purchase the software. If you'd like to email our product manager, Ben, around either purchasing or demos or anything of that nature, he can put you in touch with the right people at Wolters Kluwer. His email address is there on the screen. For CCH iFirm Personal Tax, the beta will be launching in Q2, and you can email Dorcas, who will onboard you onto the beta and discuss what's required. Same for CCH iFirm Accounts Production. That will be Lamorna. And for CCH iFirm Validate, the beta for that will be Mark. So please get in touch with those product managers for the relevant betas and launches. We have got a question around demos. So yes, there will be demos. There's a webinar series throughout, I think, this month, if not further, where we'll be deep diving into some of these products. So please join those webinars. We will also be at all the big events on our stand demoing the products, and there'll be some breakout sessions, especially at Accountex, where you can hear more. And also, if you can contact these product managers, they'd be happy to take you through them as well. So yeah, that's all the options for the demos. Okay, let me start addressing some of these other questions. So we've got a question around, can we select which clients are moved across and leave the historical ones on premise in case we need to access later? Dan, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, there's no force of which clients are going to be moved across at all. So when it comes to migration, it's absolutely in your gift to choose who is moved over and how you want to move it over. The way that we built CCH iFirm, if we think about AML for now, because that's the product that's just been released, for each client or contact that you wish to carry out an AML check for, you choose that contact and it will be moved over to CCH iFirm so that you can run the AML check. And then that client is then shared between the two systems. So it can be chosen on a client-by-client basis, or if and when you want to move across in total, you can bulk move all of your client base over to the system as well. So it's completely in your gift, and there'll be massive flexibility to choose how you want to share your contacts and clients from one system to the other.
Thanks, Sam. And we've got some questions around third-party integrations and apps. So iFirm is built API first, so we do have APIs which developers can plug into. At this moment in time, we haven't got a roadmap for the third parties, but as and when they come available, we will share those. But as you heard me speak about at the start of the presentation, that's definitely an opportunity with iFirm, being that it's a cloud platform with APIs. So yes, there will be some available in the future. We have got another question around MTD. So yes, of course, we will be ready for making tax digital for ITSA. We will be releasing the MTD ITSA functionality in CCH iFirm, but it will be fully integrated with Central. So in answer to the question, will you need iFirm personal tax for MTD? It's kind of yes and no. You can carry on using Central and use MTD and CCH iFirm. It will integrate, and that's absolutely fine. Or, as Dan just mentioned, you might want to migrate just your eligible clients over to CCH iFirm and deal with them all in the cloud, and keep your other clients in CCH personal tax on premise. So the answer to that's not straightforward, in the sense of it totally depends what you want to do. It's your migration and your system. So, you know, speak to Dorcas, speak to your account manager. Nearer the time, we can put a plan together for how you will consume MTD. We've got another question. Moving to CCH iFirm means we don't need hosted desktop and can access the software using internet like any other cloud software. Yes, that's exactly right. So CCH iFirm is a true cloud platform. So you will not need any hosted desktops. However, you do need an internet connection, as it is cloud software. Dan, I think there's a question there. When you migrate a client, can you migrate all their data too?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It very much depends on what you're migrating the client for. So again, because we're building this to be incremental and over time, you can, let's use an example of personal tax, which is one of the products that Natasha earmarked. When it comes to moving that client from CCH Central to start processing their personal tax in cloud, you'll move all of the information that's necessary for that client to allow you to perform their personal tax returns in the cloud. In terms of historic data, that's not all being moved across at the moment. That's something that we are looking to build out in the future. But for when it comes to actually carrying out the job to be done of carrying out a personal tax return for your clients, absolutely all that client's data will be there, so that you don't have to rekey anything in. It should be as seamless as it would be with your current systems. Equally, if you choose to do a full migration, all of the clients that you move over, all of the data that's necessary for those clients will be moved over in that bulk process, so that again, you can start working within CCH iFirm in one go. So yes, the client data will be moved, but we won't move all data for all products. It's as you choose to move. So if you don't choose to move accounts production, but you do choose personal tax, we'll move over the personal tax as and when you need it. And then if you later choose to move to accounts production, we'll move that data over as well. So it's very much in your gift to which products you use where, but the data will absolutely be in iFirm when and where you need it.
Thanks, Dan. We've got a few more questions around migration. So I'm going to try and answer those in sort of one blanket answer. So there was one around how is the data uploaded for migration, and do we have a cloud migration document? So in answer to that, we have a world-class professional services team at Wolters Kluwer Tax and Accounting UK, who you may have dealt with for other requirements. Our in-house team will be managing migrations, and there'll be several different ways that you can do so. So when your time comes, as Dan said, there's migrating clients and client types, in which case that's built into the software. And then there's the wider migration of other data, which professional services can support with in any capacity that you need. So at the time, please discuss that with account managers, professional services, and we can come up with the right solution for you. I did just have one more request just to confirm exactly which products are available. So I know we've spoken about a lot of products today, so I think it's a good opportunity just to explain exactly. So today, CCH iFirm AML is available for purchase, and CCH iFirm Personal Tax Accounts Production are entering beta, and CCH iFirm Validate will be entering beta shortly. So those products that are on screen there, 3 of them are available to beta within the next quarter, and CCH iFirm AML is available for purchase. Validate, so CCH iFirm Validate is a bank confirmation tool used to support auditors usually. So when they are requesting client data, at the moment it's a very manual process where they have to go to the bank, request the data. It's got quite a long lead time, there's a lot of friction. CCH iFirm Validate automates that process, and it's supported by blockchain for extra security. And yeah, it'll be in beta within the next quarter. So if you're interested, please email Mark, whose email address is on screen. So thank you so much for your time, and we'll be sharing a recording, and we look forward to seeing you at future events where we can demo and talk to you in a bit more detail about our products and our upcoming webinars.